Good. He had Madrimov winning 115, 113. That's what I had it as well.
After Bud Crawford's lackluster win over Madrimov, Matchroom CEO, Edward Hearn has found a new pastime hobby. He is consistently condemning the judges of the August 3rd installment of Riyadh season for their biases towards the young Uzbek fighter. He supports his narratives with quotes from Bud's arch-rivals and the so-called boxing pundits who saw this game live from the BMO Stadium. In this instance, he is referring to the unofficial scorecard made up by Teofimo, the fakeover, Lopez. Before this clip, both Teo and Eddie were wondering what Madrimov did wrong despite landing the heaviest shots and keeping Terence on his back foot throughout the game. The British promoter is continuously crying over spilled milk by complaining about the results of a fight. Throughout the build-up of this fight, Eddie Hearn acted as the fuel to increase the hype because of the laid-back attitude of Israel Madrimov. On various occasions, he exchanged some harsh words with Terence, questioning his legitimacy in the top pound-for-pound fighters. Eddie warned the boxing federations that if the judges kept favoring the American pugilists like this, they would lose their respect to the world, and the sport would become a waste of time, just like WWE. To support his arguments, he recalled the emotions of Terence's camp and said,
And you see Bud come out like a train in the 12. Why do you think that was? Because his corner told him, you need to win the last round. They got in the ring after the fight and they're like, me, this is close. And they probably won't say that, but they knew it was, everyone knew it was so close.
Their chit-chat extended when Eddie mocked the scorecard for being hometown favored and rigged. Not only this, Eddie criticized Andy Ruiz's fight with Jarrell Miller with similar charges. He thinks that Miller was robbed just like Madrimov because Andy Ruiz was fighting in California, where he had massive support there. At this moment, Terence couldn't hold back, and he slammed Eddie Hearn via his Instagram stories. First of all, he posted a picture in which Andy is seen in shock after the fight. The Omaha champ teased him saying, "What's wrong, Eddie Hearn?" This comment infuriated Eddie Hearns, who came with a very salty British reply. The gutted English promoter immediately went after him for this post. He admitted that he is currently pissed off about the results first and then mocked Terence for getting beaten up and even dropped down to the ground by his fighter. In his version of the IG story, he replied, "Was simply mesmerized with how easy Madrimov hit you with the right hand all night. Just his 11th pro fight." But this clash didn't stop there. Terence continued to put salt in Eddie's wounds and mocked him for his unfruitful campaign on August 3rd. He, Terence, extended his banter with some other stories like this. 5-0 against Matchroom. You better be thanking Turkey Al-Sheikh for keeping you and those other clowns in business. Turkey only cares about what's best for the fighters and fans, not the people who are destroying the sport. Let the haters hate. Either the fighter loses or leaves you. Appreciate greatness, Edward. Terence didn't hold there and also slammed him for taking the credit for the hard work of His Excellency. The 4-division champ strongly believes that Matchroom could never organize a card of this grandeur, despite their deals with DAZN and other profits. On top of that, he warned Hearn to stop using his name in the future. Terence went further and said, "I don't remember seeing a Matchroom event like this. Like I said, appreciate greatness. Start promoting your own fighters and stop using my name. Safe travel, Edward." Looks like Eddie Hearn was also online because we saw some instant replies from his Instagram stories. He advised Terence Crawford to look at how the world sees his victory. Plus, Eddie also has a way to remove the stains of all of these defeats. He immediately recorded his reply saying, "I gave you more promotion in 1 week than you've had your whole career. You are welcome. Congrats on the win though, great fighter." Jaron Ennis is ready to make it 5-1. Now Jaron Ennis is the only pawn left in Eddie's campaign to defeat Crawford. He has sworn time after time that he will make Terence taste the first defeat in his career. However, he doesn't see this fight happening in the near future because of Jaron's laid-back attitude and Terence's lack of commitment. His thoughts about this possible matchup were, Jaron Ennis isn't going to cringe showing up at press conferences, shouting and screaming. He's the best welterweight in the world. He wants to win all the belts. Bud is up at
154.
He, Ennis, doesn't want to vacate his belt. He wants to win the welterweight championship undisputed, unless they come up with mad money, which doesn't exist for that fight yet. Boxing presenter and TalkSports host Gareth A. Davies has come up with a strange analogy for this fight. He is someone who is admiring their rivalry because it could end up in the making of many brilliant fights in the future. He knows one thing about Hearn, which is that he will never forget these defeats and will invest everything in making the fights where he can see Terence losing. Davies said, "The beef between Eddie and Terence is a good one. It's good for boxing. It's good for Terence. Good for Eddie Hearn. Terence is a free agent now, and obviously, he's under the umbrella of the Saudi movement. He will get paid handsomely for that fight with Madrimov, who pushed him to the limit, by the way. Davies surprisingly agreed with Eddie Hearn and raised questions about the judging standards in this game. He thinks that the fight was very close, and he didn't see Terence having a significant upper hand in this bout except the 12th round.
Very, very close fight. I had them 105 each going into the last round, and Terence needed to win that round. He won it 115, 114 for me. Very close fight. Wouldn't mind seeing that again.
In the end, Davies highlighted his previous statement on why he welcomes a beef between the Nebraska champ and the British promoter. He linked their discord with Eddie's last weapon at Matchroom Promotions. He was talking about Jaron Boots Ennis and how this feud could lead boxing fans to this fight. Davies has also given his perspective on the end of Terence's Crawford versus Canelo fight. Terence's lackluster fight with Madrimov has reached him to a conclusion that he should better get back to 147 and face Jaron Boots Ennis. After the Saturday night in Los Angeles, my feelings, even though I've been an advocate for it, was that Crawford-Canelo fight probably shouldn't happen. I think that 6 weight divisions are going to be too much for him. I think Canelo will be too big and too strong and too powerful and belong in a weight division too high for Crawford. He stated that the outcome of such a mismatch could be devastating for Terence. With a performance like August 3rd, he has no chance against Canelo. This fight would be feasible if Canelo was still in the middleweight division. He requested Crawford to stop thinking of a 6-division leap against a fellow pound-for-pound fighter because it is not a sober choice. On the other hand, Davies praised Canelo for not bowing down to His Excellency's demands. The real reason behind the end of these negotiations is not the $150 million demands of Canelo, but something else. According to Davies, it's all just rescheduling. His Excellency is not angry with Canelo, and he will work with Canelo on some other projects. He added, I think he probably wants the Benavidez fight with Canelo. Turki Al Sheikh is going to do a big fight, and it's Canelo against Benavidez or Canelo against Beterbiev if Beterbiev beats Bivol in October. You know, we see where His Excellency is right now with these things. He's deep into it. His Excellency will deliver what he has promised, but this will not end the problems for Eddie Hearn. He will have to do a hell of a struggle to get a fight with Terence. A recent chapter added in this debate of who won and who lost is included by the coaches of Israel Madrimov. Joel Diaz, who has trained Israel for this, was completely hysterical at this one-sided scorecard.
Man, you don't want to know what I feel right now. You know, my thoughts overall this system is really bad, man. Everything that crosses my mind right now is really bad. It's really mad. If you would dig into my brain right now, you wouldn't even want to be in there.
Joel has rejected these results and claimed that he was expecting the opposite. He was gutted at the judges who scored him as a novice in front of Crawford. Madrimov was clearly above Terence in most rounds and he deserved a win or a draw. According to Joel, they won 7.8 rounds in this fight while Crawford won only 4 or 5 rounds in total. He recorded his protest to the higher authorities saying, "It's disrespectful for us because who puts so much effort in the gym every day? These people don't even see the sacrifice that he makes coming from Uzbekistan to dedicate himself to the sport that feeds his family. This kind of is not fair." He said to the judges what probably no one has ever said before. His is extreme anger and disgust, Joel Diaz shouted.
Believe me, if I would look at every judge that was around the ring tonight in their face, I think I will punch them in the face and tell them to start getting some classes of how to judge a fight.
And it seems like the winning side is also not very happy either with their performance. Bud's coach Bomac was looking tense throughout the fight, as Eddie Hearn has said. But when he was confronted by the IFL TV after the match, he completely denounced Eddie's remarks. After calling Teofimo Lopez a trash that won't bring anything to the table, he moved on to the bigger fish. He slammed Eddie Hearn for their comments about him and his fighter. He shouted at Eddie, "How is he going to know that I'm worried or not?" Well, he wasn't in the corner, wasn't he? He's just saying, I think the fight was 9-3. Madrimov didn't land one body shot. Have you seen how many body shots Terence landed? Bomac also acknowledged Joel Diaz's contribution to the sport and requested him to stop making complaints like this. However, he is unsure whether Terence stays at 154 after this fight or decide to return to his normal weight. Terence Crawford has once again slammed the people who think that he has no chance against Canelo Alvarez. He recently appeared on the Porterway podcast, where he looked heartbroken for the cancellation of this fight. However, this didn't prevent him from dissing Canelo, who recognized him as an easy money and easy work. He claimed that his weight difference had already made him an obvious underdog in this fight. So why Canelo doesn't agree to negotiate for this fight? Why was he asking for this bizarre amount of money? He told Sean, "If I'm easy work," I heard him say, "I'm easy work." If I was easy work, you know, you're going to take all that money that His Excellency is offering, but yet, he wants $200 million to fight David Benavidez and $150 million to fight me. So, that just let me know right there that I'm a threat to him, I'm a threat to his legacy. Terence has also slammed Eddie for saying to Canelo that Terence had no real intention to fight against Canelo. He was calling out Canelo just to increase the ticket sales for his fights against Madrimov. Michael Benson has recently posted, Terence Crawford has accused Eddie Hearn of being disrespectful after a video was posted of his conversation with Canelo Alvarez. Terence said, I thought it was disrespectful for Eddie Hearn to lie and say, we had to use your name to promote the fight. We didn't use Canelo's name to promote. He's trying to stay friends with him, but it's disrespectful to me. Anytime they gave me any question about Canelo, I shut it down. So for him to say we had to use his name to sell the fight is disrespect. Shakur Stevenson has also defended his mate from the allegations of Eddie Hearn and critics like Gareth A. Davies. After the end of this match, posted this match on Instagram. Most people don't know about boxing. This was one of the best fights I watched in so long. This is what you call high-level boxing. Two fighters on an extremely high level using feints, defense, foot positioning, and smart punch selection that was amazing to watch for me. But yeah, it wasn't close at all, to be honest. But you gotta have a high IQ to understand that chasing greatness. Shakur was also seen angry at the crowd's booing when Madrimov was on the upper hand. Crowds booing in the fight. He was trying to demean Israel Madrimov and his fans throughout the fight. Somehow, his emotions were recorded by the media, which was hilarious. So how did you see this fight going? Who really won? Is Eddie right, or is he just crying over spilled milk? Tell us in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. It really helps a lot.